Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. Happy Monday, and I hope that you all had a great weekend trying to get some Knull shards here, and especially for alliances maybe that were struggling or trying to get into difficulty 5 of Battle World, which will be starting for some people later on today. Now, the first half of this video, I do want to do a bit of a recap of Battle World from the weekend with the Knull battle, because there's been some drama going around with regards to some insane numbers, some exploitation going on, whether intentionally or not. You know, there's a lot of this going around, and really trying to get to the bottom of why this is even possible. The fact that Scopely didn't also buff the Astral team this weekend ahead of Knull, which was honestly, a lot of alliances were very close to getting those 6 kills that you needed to advance to D5, is kind of despicable, because I know that they're going away on holidays, but they should have implemented this before they went away. We'll see later on this week if they, or when they do decide to turn that switch on, maybe by the time this video has gone out, or later on today, maybe it's happened. But the fact that it didn't go in before Knull is a bit downright trash. In the second half of the video, I do also want to talk about the player population, because this leaderboard for the event just ended, and we've lost a lot of players in just 2 weeks. Normally, I do these kinds of videos every month after like 2 different leaderboards have gone through, but I think that we really need to start talking about this more, because it's really important to understand why the player population is diving. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. All right, and so first things first, you might have seen this photo circulating through Discords and things like that, or you saw it on Dorky Dad's video, because this has been, first of all, this is just nothing short of insanity, because this is not a legitimate damage score on Knull, right? This is just, it's not even possible. Like, even the best bleed teams, I'm pretty sure I've seen it at, I think I saw 600 million. I'm not sure if that was legitimate either, but I know that I got 260. I think some people may have pushed in the 300 brackets, but seeing something like this is clearly not legitimate. And so this is a bit of a problem, because now we're getting instances where, you know, the leaderboards are just colossally fucked. Not that I really care too much about leaderboard stuff, but I mean, I think this goes to show that A, Scopely can't program anything properly without something breaking, and then B, it's just, it ruins the integrity. If there's ever any integrity in Marvel Strike Force, usually there's not most of the time. But either way, this is just absolutely insane. There was a second photo here of this guy with this person here with, like, what is that, 1.7 billion damage, like, clearly not legitimate. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I don't know, I have no proof on it, but I do want to kind of show, where is the photo? Did I have the proper photo actually set up? No, I don't. Did I not bring it up? We need to go into the leaderboard of Battle World, because I think, I mean, somebody can challenge me in below, but I do believe. Oh no, there's the fucking bug again. Of course, when are they gonna fix this black screen bug? Okay, let's be right back. Okay, and we're back before I was rudely interrupted by the Battle World black screen. I really hope that they actually fix that, because it's super irritating. So I wanted to go to the leaderboard. We're going to be talking more about the leaderboard in my position and some other people's, and where the cutoff for D4, D5 was, or from D4 to D5 is what I mean. But you can see here that this is, so I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon. This is before Monday's Battle World is starting. So this is the end of Knull, right? And you can see that there's a huge gap between first place and second place and everyone else. And I don't know, you know, I'm not going out and saying that these two alliances are exploiting, but I mean, that would also show the differences in the score that we're seeing in some of those photos. I don't know whose alliance it is necessarily that's doing it, and maybe they're not. But it seems like a crazy gap between 1, 2, and 3 and everyone else. That being said, like, there's probably some degree of exploiting going on in these top alliances. It just, you know, how it's being done is also just absolutely crazy. And I feel that, you know, people are gaslighting about this too, because there are people who are saying, like, I don't know how I did it. I just put my 5 Astral on auto, and then I just showed up with 1 billion damage. Like, it's just, it's absolute gaslighting. So there's a couple of people. I saw this screenshot here from the Marvel Strike Force players. This is not my screenshot. Someone shared it with me. I don't understand why people think I would lie about this. I believe this is something in reference to this person saying something on Dorky's stream, maybe somewhere else. This was maybe it was last weekend actually. I'm not entirely sure. This was 305 million damage using the full Astral team. Now he did say on difficulty level 3, so it's probably not one of those top alliances in this instance here. But let me tell you, I put my full 5 Astral on auto and on manual play, and the maximum that I managed to get was like 110 million. There's no way pre-boss that it was able to even get 300 million damage. Just impossible. So last weekend I was also hearing about exploiting through Astral 4. This was before Shadow King. People were telling me 4 Astral and Odin was doing like 600,000 plus damage, or 600 million plus damage. And that's just impossible too. And so I don't know where these things are happening, but I feel the people who are actually doing this and who are exploiting this are absolutely gaslighting the community, because they're just not telling, they know exactly how they did this. There's no chance in hell you just put this on auto and you wound up with like a billion damage score. It's just impossible. You would have noticed something on your screen. You would have known how it was done. And I think there are a handful of people that actually know how this done, and they're keeping it within their alliances. But that's just my thoughts on that one. The other thing I want to talk about with regards to Battle World, this was actually another thing. Here we go. So this was a Discord conversation, I suppose, in one of the Discords. Full Astral, full auto. At some time around 45 seconds remaining, Strange and Moondragon were the only ones up, and the damage limit just stopped happening. So this makes sense. You know, this is what I assumed was the exploit in terms of basically the percent damage that's going out. Somehow the damage cap was no longer there, and it's doing full damage. That makes sense, and how it got to those kinds of numbers. Strange used his basic and did tens of millions of damage. So this kind of tracks. Of note, there was no animation bug. I think that's in reference to the instant attacks when the game like locks up and things like that. So I think, and I also heard that there may be something related to if Shadow King dies and transfers his possession over to another player, specifically Doctor Strange. I think so. Shadow King dies, gives the possession to Doctor Strange, and then somehow the damage cap is lifted. I don't know if that's exactly. I had some people in my alliance test that, and it didn't work the same way. But I don't know. Maybe there's some combination of things happening that breaks the game. Maybe it's a certain device. I honestly don't know. If you know more, let me know in the comments down below. But it's nothing short of pure insanity. Now, second thing I want to talk about is also going to, well, I guess the second and third is going to be the cutoff for D5 of Battle World. So this is my alliance. We literally just made it. We got our 6th kill, and that's it. And we landed at 123. So that's how we did make it into difficulty 5. Yay! But a lot of people did not. So this is the Alliance Sand Pride, and they said that they were short, I believe, like very, very close to there. So somewhere between my ranking of 123 and up here at the 150. I don't know. I think it was like the top 140 maybe that made it into difficulty 5. So very few alliances actually made it into difficulty 5. I would imagine that if the Astral Bus went in, that more alliances would have actually made it there. So I think it's just pretty crazy that the kind of bar there is 6 null kills, but specifically that I don't really think that you can even legitimately get to 6 null kills without using the bleed team. Like if you were to, you know, the bleed team with Omega Red and Adam Warlock, and or any variation of this, I suppose, with Black Knight, Mephisto, and Old Man Logan, right? Like, and so I almost think that if you were not to use a bleed team, there's just no chance in hell that you would actually get 6 null kills, because a lot of the people who are doing some of these top scores are using the bleed team, you know, mixed in with some astral and mixed in with some exploiting, right? You know, some combination of that. So had Scopely actually triggered the astral bus before going away, I think a lot more alliances would actually be making it into difficulty 5. That's where my alliance is going to start, but I know a lot of alliances will not be. So I would say the majority of the player base actually is still D4 and below. So that's a little bit unfortunate there. So moving on to the, this is the true second half of the video that I wanted to talk about actually, is the player population. Now, things have not been good. We know that, right? Things have not been good. Things have been on the decline. And the reason why I'm bringing this up again, so this is the Astral Voyage event from 2 weeks ago. Normally I wait a full month when there's multiple leaderboards to track on this one. But so just a recap of that video, you know, there was about an 8,000 population dip every single month for the last 4 months. I tracked it basically from, I believe, around 335,000, and we were going down about 8,000 per month over the last handful of months. Now, this one, again, was 2 weeks ago. This is the Astral Voyage event, right? And 305,000. I usually do these like right at the very end. I'll do like the minimum input to try and get an idea of what the bottom of the leaderboard represents. And I did this again before this Lunar Rebirth. I forgot the name of it. Lunar Rebirth ended, and we were at 292,000. This is shocking. Or maybe I'm not that shocked, but it is a shocking number. Going from 305 to 292,000 represents a dip of 13,000 players in 2 weeks. This is not good. Like, as far as the total percentage of what this represents, it's close to around 4.2%, I believe. So 13,000 divided by 305, because that's 305K times 100. 4.26% that this represents in terms of the population loss, or the player base leaving, I suppose, within 2 weeks' time. It is absolutely insane that this is happening. I don't know if we're going to plateau. I'll check this again in 2 weeks, right? Or where I guess it would be maybe a week and a half. Yeah, 2 weeks when it ends, right? After the next leaderboard, and see where that sits. But as we kind of move up to December, as we move up to the winter break, I really don't think that we're going to be in a better situation. I feel like with the holidays coming, if anything, more players are going to drop off because they're going to realize what's going on in Marvel Strike Force, and they might make that decision to leap off finally. And then I guess the second question or the next question is, why is this happening? Right? Why are players and I'm sure a lot of you can already answer this without me having to explain it, right? We've been talking about this at least once a week in terms of the issues in Marvel Strike Force, right? And some of this, I would say a lot of this is Battle World related. I gotta say, the population or the game was doing decently in October. And then as soon as we kind of got into the end of October, as we got to the early November, the game declined a lot with Battle World, but also numbers were declining a lot. You may have seen a video from Mobile Gamer talking about something similar, that he saw about a 12 to 13% or whatever it was of a Twitch viewer drop. I would say that YouTube across the board, and I'm sure every content creator, if anyone else is watching this video, can probably attest to this, that their own numbers, my numbers, their numbers are all down through the month of November. I would say mine has probably dipped about 20 to 25% in November, whereas I was growing a lot actually through October. Now, you could just say it's just some changes in people watching my channel, but regardless, the numbers are there, right? And I think that for things that would normally get a lot more attention are getting a lot less. And so this is a reflection of the player base leaving, but specifically the active player base. So that's what I want to kind of stress upon, is that I think a lot of the players that are leaving Marvel Strike Force are actually the active player bases who care, right? The people who watch the videos, the people who watch the Twitch streams, the people who, engage with the game more. Those are the types of people that are leaving. And a lot of the reason, I just want to assume, is that, Battle World launched at the start of November or whenever the official launch date was, and they were disappointed. It was a boring auto fast, and then eventually you get to Knull, and then you'd smash your head against a boss and do as much damage as you can, and then you'd rinse repeat it. There wasn't a lot of engaging mechanics, and honestly, even at D4 Knull, I wouldn't say it's super engaging either. You take the best possible teams that you can do the most damage, but I wouldn't say it's like a ton of engagement on the boss side of things, right? You're just kind of going through the motions, if you will. And I don't know what to say. I mean, other than that, Battle World was a bit of a flop. The zones, the daily zone missions aren't super engaging either. And so this has brought us to a point where the culmination of a lot of the other problems in Marvel Strike Force are coming to a head, right? Battle World aside, there's lots of other issues, right? There's the character availability release, which I've talked about in other videos. The fact that's still going on, and the slow drips and all that, that's really pissed people off in a hero collector game. We've also lost 2 content creators in the last little while. Benny Westside has quit. The LVP has quit, and there might be more in the future. And I know that I'm personally looking for another game to play on the side of my side channel. I have for those of you who may or may not have remembered, I did play Lord of the Rings: Heroes of Middle Earth. I did set up a side channel, and that channel is monetized, and I'm not doing anything with it. And so I'm sitting here thinking about what's next on my agenda, because if the game continues this downward trend, anywhere from 8,000 a month or more, like 13,000 in 2 weeks is absolutely insane, then yes, even for my own income and for my own benefit, then I'm going to need to look beyond Marvel Strike Force as well. And I would like to assume that if I'm thinking about this, then every other content creator on Marvel Strike Force that do this for a job is also doing the same. Whether it's Mobile Gamer, whether it's Valley Flying, whether it's Dorky Dad, or whoever, are probably also thinking something similar. Because realistically, Scopely doesn't care about the envoys. I don't think Scopely cares about MSFPV. I'm sorry, but I really don't think that Scopely gives a shit about anyone except their own money. And I find this a bit shocking because if they wanted to keep their player base and they wanted to keep people spending, the thing that you would want is to keep your player base happy. And clearly they're not because they're leaving. So I don't know what has to give in this game for Scopely to wake up and smell the fucking coffee because things are not good. And yeah, I mean, I sorry to be doom and gloom again so soon, I suppose, but this really cannot be understated. The kind of loss that we're seeing in the player base and in the population. I guess that's the same thing, I suppose. I don't know why I said that, but anyways, I don't want this game to die, but they need to do something, right? It's not our job to tell them what to do. I'm not unpaid labor, right? I'm not going to give a list of suggestions of what they have to do to turn this ship around, but they do have to do that because if they don't, the developers over at Scopely are going to lose their job. Maybe they'll move over to fucking Monopoly Go, who knows? But realistically, this game does have the potential to dive, and if it continues at this rate, yes, it very well could end of service in 6 months, or whenever it gets to that threshold where it's no longer profitable enough to keep running. That is a real reality that people need to understand as well. So I don't know. I'd love to know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. I'll be tracking this as the weeks and the months go on, but I am not positive right now in terms of the direction of at least the numbers, because that's the only thing that I can look at. That's just me. I'm a really gloomy start to Monday, but I thought it was really important to share these bits of information as we go into the next week of Battle World. Anyways, until next time, everybody, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon, signing out.